Here are folks that regret van life.
I'm done. I'm quitting van life.
Let's take it from the beginning. 2.5 years ago, I found my van on Craigslist after searching for years. I named her Co, remodeled her, said goodbye to the fam, and set out on this wild adventure. I had absolutely no clue at that point that it'd be one of the greatest decisions I would ever make. I left my hometown in Florida, traveled across the US, visiting 35 states, countless national parks, and then crossed the border to explore the entirety of Baja, Mexico before trekking north. I didn't know it at the time, but I had just began my journey to Alaska. I followed the Pacific Coast Highway and eventually crossed into Canada, where I drove all the way up to the Arctic Ocean, and yes, I jumped in. Lastly came my favorite place of all, the absolutely gorgeous state of Alaska. I had tons of breakdowns, camped in amazing places, met some of my best friends, and grew so much as a person. Plus, I got to take my sweet little baby, Miss Hadley May, along on this entire journey. But with all good things, they come to an end.
That's crazy. Look at this.
It's been 4 years living in this van with 2 people and a dog. Here's what we'd never do again. Our toilet setup means we literally have to car and wee in front of each other. No joke, that's 100% the reality of van life. You have zero privacy. Taking a little bit of extra space for a toilet shower cubicle would just make things a little bit more comfortable. We hand-built this entire kitchen and it's absolutely stunning. But we thought vintage style handleless doors was the way to go. When you wash your hands and you want to open the cupboard for any reason, good luck with that. To save weight, we got UPVC shower panels. Thought it would look better than a plain white panel, but they were an absolute pain in the arse to work with. We snapped so many trying to get round this curb, and also they have dented in so many places over the years. We disagree with the hype.
I really debated making this post or not, but I am so burnt out from living in a van. Today I'm going to de-influence you. These are the things that are genuinely so on my nerves. If I have to do one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. Starting off strong is finding a place to sleep every night. Security guards will knock on your van in the middle of the night and tell you that you have to move, or like last night, they'll just give you a ticket. I have to find a new place to sleep tonight. The second one is that everything just takes way longer than it should. I have to drive to a gym to shower. The closest gym to me right now is 20 minutes away. For me to go shower, that takes me an hour. If I want to do laundry, I can't just like throw in my laundry and then go for a run. I have to go to the laundromat. I have to sit and wait for it to be done. Number 3, and this is one that didn't start to bother me until this year, and that is that my van is never the right temperature. I do not have AC, and I would say my heater is like broken half the time. Like yesterday, I went to shower and then I went to the grocery store and I came back and I'm putting my groceries away and I'm dripping sweat after I just spent an hour going to shower. Like, I can't just comfortably hang out in my space. Like, I have to go somewhere else, or I have to spend my time outside. Even if I just want to like cuddle up in bed and read my book, like I can't do it because it's unbearably hot in here. Or in the winter, like if my heater breaks while I'm skiing or whatever, unbearably cold, and it's so hard for me to get out of bed in the morning. Number 4 is that I don't have unlimited of my basic amenities. My power comes from solar or from driving. Right now it's gloomy outside and I didn't have plans to drive a ton of places today, so I have to be really careful with my power usage. I have to check my battery monitor in the morning before I want to make a smoothie to see if I have enough power to do that. The same goes for water. I have to fill up my water tank probably about once every week and a half. Finding somewhere to do that can be difficult. And then I'm constantly rationing my water all week, like trying to use as little as possible for my dishes or whatever. That's why I hate cleaning my sink so much. Sorry, now I'm getting on a tangent. And same with like my toilet. I have to dump my pee jug pretty much every other day. And if my pee jug is full and I don't have a place to dump it and I really have to pee, that becomes a very uncomfortable situation, as I'm sure you can imagine. And last but certainly not least is the lack of routine. Constantly in a new place, with new surroundings, with access to different things. My whole life changes as my location changes. At first, that's really fun. That's like the whole draw of van life. As you do it for longer and longer and longer, you get to a point where you crave that routine and it's really hard to find. All this being said, I think that it's really getting to me because the plans that I have for the next year, I basically have to be on the road. And so the earliest that I could even think about getting an apartment is next November, which I'm definitely highly considering. I would still keep my van and like travel part-time in it. I just would not be on the road full-time. I've been debating coming on here and talking about it because no one wants to listen to like a complainer and like a negative Nelly, and I do really love my life and I'm so lucky to live it, but I also don't want to come on here and act like everything is perfect all the time and I'm so happy and everyone should do this and there's no negatives. Talking to a lot of friends that have been on the road for a similar amount of time to me, and we're all kind of approaching this place. I didn't really think that I would get here, which is why like I have my whole next year planned out. I'm like, I love living on the road, blah blah blah, planning all this stuff far in advance, and now I'm like, oh my god, I need a break.
See, yeah, that's a lot of good reasons. This next guy, he got a story to tell. Listen to him, man.
I saw another creator make a video and gave a couple reasons as to why she's burnt out from van life. I fully agreed with every single thing she touched on, and I wanted to share a couple of the reasons as to why I stopped living in a bus after 4 years. I will say I do miss it, but living in a home has been so much beneficial for my growth and just like life in general. I want to be clear, this pertains more to bus life rather than van life, because if you have a nice like Ford Transit Sprinter van, it's going to be a very different experience compared to a 2002 bus. Shuttle bus, so different than a school bus. It's a little more put together than a school bus, I would say. Number one, it's so expensive. It's not cheaper. It's not as cheap as you think. It used to be maybe back in the day, but nowadays it is so expensive, especially if you have a diesel like I did. It was around $250 just to fill up. If you are constantly traveling, it is way more expensive than just living in a place. You think it's cheaper at first, but then you realize that it's not over time because so many little things add up, like toll roads, mechanical issues, parking tickets, tickets that you just got because the officer who was on site just felt like being an a-hole. I got a $120 ticket for parking too close to a unmarked sidewalk. What does that even mean? If you live in a van or a bus, you are way more of a target to get a ticket for absolutely no reason compared to any other person. I promise you that you will get tickets for no reason. You'll be like, why did I get this? There's no reason. It's because you're living in a van and a bus. Especially in California, be warned. I spent at least 10 to 15 grand just in repairs over the last like 3 to 4 years. Everything inside your vehicle is really prone to breaking because you're in a moving vehicle that shakes a lot, especially if you're on roads like in California. Like, it's just, things are gonna break, things are gonna get loose, and it costs money to fix that. There were instances where my stove broke and my fridge broke, and I'm like, well, what do I do now? So yeah, it's expensive. Yes, you can do it for very cheap if you want to. Obviously you can do that, but it's expensive. It is. Number two, I don't feel as anxious anymore. I don't have this crippling sense of, oh my God, I could die in the middle of the night. I don't know why. That's just like a feeling you have when you're in a van. Especially I feel like if you're a woman, that's even heightened 10 times more. I could only imagine. You're parked on the side of a road. The thought of oh, a car could hit me overnight. Oh, the police could tell me to move overnight. Oh, somebody could try to break into my car overnight. That sense of you always are just a little antsy while you're sleeping, You're like that feeling gone. Just that alone has helped me so much in life. I'm not too worried about the crime activity while living in a bus that much because I grew up in South Florida, so I'm just used to that. The thought of someone hitting you in the middle of the night is just so scary, especially when you're in California. When you're on the PCH, you are right there, especially in places like Malibu. That's sus. Number three, the other creator spoke on this, and I fully agree. Everything takes forever. Any little task takes so long, and that's what was getting to me. As I was my day keeps getting chewed up because it takes so long to do anything. It takes me 2 hours to go to the gym and take a shower. It takes me an hour just to get water and just to go to the bathroom sometimes. They lock the bathrooms here at night in San Diego besides 1% of parks. And just to go to the bathroom, you have to go and drive somewhere. Just to shower, you have to go and drive somewhere. Oh, I need to do my dishes. My water ran out. I have to go drive somewhere. Or get gallons of water, of plastic, and just waste that. And it's just if you think sometimes that it's a sustainable lifestyle, but sometimes it's not as sustainable as you think it is. The only way I was able to afford this lifestyle was because I had 2 remote jobs, and it made it very easily. And then I randomly lost those 2 jobs at the same exact time, and I was oh, this might get a little hard. And it was very hard to do van life, bus life, without having a constant income while I'm on the road. I tried leaving for a month, and within a month I had no money, and I was oh, so I have to go back to San Diego now. I have to go back because it is so expensive everywhere to drive and just do anything. Every little thing adds up. When it even comes to parking, it takes so long to find parking, and you have to go to the back of plazas just to park, and then you have to walk an extra 2-3 minutes. It's all these little things that add up that you don't think about, and then your whole day's gone, and you're what? And then you're trying to go somewhere to vibe for the night, and then you're in rush hour traffic, and you're just what? It's just a never-ending loop of kind of the same thing every day, especially when you're staying in one specific place. If you're constantly on the go, which I highly do recommend, but it's very expensive to pay for all that gas, unless you have a steady income and you can afford that. It's hard when you're just staying in one city living in a vehicle, I have noticed, especially here in San Diego. And number 4, I feel a lot of people don't think about this because I did not, so I should have done more research, I guess, but it's the fact that you're restricted on so many roads within national parks and cool areas within the parks. You you can't go based on the size of your vehicle. I was a 22-foot vehicle. If you're like 20 foot and under, I feel like you're pretty chill. But if you're anything above that, you can't go to so many cool like bucket list type areas within parks because you're too big. Sorry, you're a foot too big. Gotta turn around. Like you can't park in certain parking lots because you're just too big, and that's the only parking lot within like a 2 to 3 mile radius of the trailhead. So it's like you either gotta walk more or you just pass on that. And it stinks when you show up somewhere and they're like, sorry, like you can't. You're just like, oh, you know. Also because of having a bigger vehicle when it comes to going to music festivals, if you go, it costs so much more because you have to pay for an RV pass now. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's not. Most of the times I don't prefer paying for RV because I have solar power, so there's no point. I don't need electricity. If you do, that makes a difference, but like it's like an extra $500 to $600 every festival if you want to bring your vehicle now. It's worth it because you have your whole home with you at a festival. So I will say that, and you can split it between homies. But it's an added fee, you know. It's for the convenience. It's a convenience fee for sure, but it's more things to think about, like more expense because you're just like a foot too big. And number 5, I would say, is if you cannot handle being perceived, do not live in a van or a vehicle because people will look at you so differently when living in a vehicle. They will think you're a nuisance, they will think you're homeless, they will think you're a hippie, they will think you're a druggie, they'll think you're just there to be a ruckus. Some people are, and those people are the ones that ruin it for us. But that's genuinely just like the homeless population of like California and other places. Like they're the reason why van lifing gets so regulated nowadays. Nothing against them. Some people are very disrespectful when it comes to van life, and I know you guys know who I'm talking about. If you cannot handle being perceived, it's gonna be really hard for you because everyone looks at you completely differently when you are living in a vehicle. Everyone. It comes with it, and it's part of it. You can meet really dope people along the way. You're gonna meet really sick people, and there is a really dope van life community out there. There's super, super dope souls that you can connect with. But also, one thing I will say about the van life and bus life, just camper life community in general, is that like when you are in a hub somewhere like San Diego, and if you're someone who's extremely introverted, or just like someone who just like likes to be like in their own space, it's so hard to like go to anywhere without anyone coming up to you and just like invading space. And it's like me, again, I'm an anxious person and I do like my own space, and I am very much so in my zone grinding a lot of the time. And it's hard to do that. It's hard to do that sometimes because there's so many people here who live that lifestyle, and a lot of these people who are living that lifestyle are very laid back and just don't. A lot of people aren't doing much and just work remote, and I get that because that's what I did the last 4 years. So I get the vibe of just wanted to chill and vibe, but like it gets to a point where like I need my personal space. Like living in a van has not become my personal space. When you're living, like I said, when you're living in a city, it's completely different. If you're out and about traveling and you're in the middle of nature and forest, it's so different that you don't have to worry about anything that I just said, besides maybe running out of supplies and resources and having to go somewhere to use the restroom. But like things add up and it just becomes a lot eventually. So this isn't to like de-influence you to not do van life and bus life, but it's just to show you that like things happen and it's not all rainbow and sunshine. So think what you want. All right, bye.
I gotta be honest, van life has not been what I expected it to be in a lot of ways. Overall, I love it. I'm having a great time, but I wanted to talk about some things about van life that have been disappointing for me so far. If you don't know me, my name is Abby. I'm one of the 3,000 Abbies that live in a van. I live in my van with my husband and my corgi, Geoffrey. First disappointment has been the social life. I thought that being out on the road and living in a van was going to help us make friends left and right, and that just hasn't been the case. We have met some cool people at different meetups that we've been to, but then when those meetups are done, you all drive your separate ways and you really only are able to connect with them through social media. But when it comes to in-person connections, we just haven't had as many as we thought we were going to. We also haven't been able to save as much money as we thought that we were going to, meaning we haven't been able to save any money. Primary purpose in moving into a van was to save money to hopefully be able to buy a house or some land at some point in the future, but we have spent the last 4.5 months unemployed looking for jobs. I also was expecting Southern California to kind of be our forever home, and I don't think it's going to be, which is so weird and surprising to say out loud because for years, forever, I really thought that Southern California was our place and that we would get out here, live in a van, save money to be able to afford a house in Southern California somewhere, but it just has not been speaking to my soul as much as I expected it to. Things could change, who knows? We're very far away from planting roots and deciding on a place to live. Kind of surprising to be having second thoughts about Southern California, for me personally. Places that we've been have also not been as van life friendly as I expected. We've spent a lot of our time in San Diego, which is where I've seen a lot of van lifers either live permanently or is kind of their central hub for van life. Whether it's finding water or resources or sleep spots because of recent legislation changes, it has just not been as van life friendly as I thought it was or as it is portrayed on social media. I also expected it to be a little bit easier to be away from family because James and I are very independent individuals, but it is so hard. Like, I sobbed leaving my parents' house after Christmas and sobbed for 30 minutes to an hour of our drive. Like I said, overall, we love it. I love van life. We're nowhere near done with this lifestyle, but obviously with any way of life, there are going to be disappointments.
Really? Look at this.
Van life has cost me an absolute fortune, an arm and a leg, biggest cash loss of my life, probably upwards of 9 grand plus the travel, if I actually did the maths, and huge amount of stress on whether or not the van was passing MOTs, getting it back from the garage, breakdowns, travelling alone and struggling with the emotions of that. And with all of that crazy negative stuff, I don't regret it at all. I do not regret it. I'm so glad I've done it. It's not the end for me, it is with this van, and I'll go into the detail on that soon, but at my heart, I'm a traveller. I enjoy seeing the world. I enjoy being out and hiking and the freedom of it. And so let that be a testament to how enjoyable, if it's right for you, van life can be, because I'm frugal, I'm money-minded, and I still do not regret the fact that I've basically spent a house deposit. Crazy. You only live once. Money comes, money goes. This has shaped me into who I need to be. Like, shaped me into the person that I am. So, no regrets. That is an invaluable life lesson. You can't pay for it. So, that's my update. I'll have more updates soon.
We've only had Campervan Larry for about 30 days, and here's what I regret already. We got it in Florida at the height of snowbird season. So now all the state parks are booked. Guess we'll just have to do some more boondocking. Darn. Happy camping!
Get ready with me as I tell you the things that I regret about van life. First thing that I regret about van life is maybe being a bit naive about how many decisions each day you actually have to make. And what I mean by this is you're not just wondering where you're going to park, you're wondering where you're going to fill up, where you're going to dump your toilet, where you can park, where's safe to stop. If you have a long drive, you're thinking about fuel prices now and where you're going to fill up and what's the cheapest. So there's a lot of decisions that you have to make each day that maybe doesn't really get shown online as much. So when we went into van life, we were very naive. As well as making lots of decisions, you're always wondering if you're going to meet people on the road. Now, we have met some really unique and cool people on the road that we have created really good friendships with. But I guess I was a bit naive that you were going to go through some country where you weren't going to meet anybody, which happened to us for the first 6 months of van life. But meeting lots of people in Morocco, lots of people in the Balkans, and some people around Europe. The next thing that I would say I regretted is when we first initially came out to travel, we travelled so quickly that I actually think we gave ourselves burnout, which is easily done when you're super excited to get to all these places. You don't realise that sometimes your body just wants to slow down. Next thing that I regret about van life is the fact that it took us so long to actually get hobbies. We first started living in the van, we had a lot of indoor hobbies but not a lot of outdoor hobbies, and now 2 years in, we have a paddleboard, we have 2 bodyboards, we have all of our hiking equipment, all of our camping equipment, so we now have so many hobbies that under our bed is so full we physically can't fit any more hobbies in, but we definitely make the space and time for them because we realise how important it is to still do really fun things, even though van life is fun in itself. And the last thing that I regret about van life, I wouldn't necessarily say that this is one you hear many people admit online, but you do get a bit of envy, jealousy. I don't really know what it comes under, but I love going and seeing other people's vans. And I used to, when we first started, be like, oh, I wish our van looked like that. Oh, I wish I had this in my van. And now I'm actually like, you know what? If we ever build another van, it's going to be great inspo for what we want. And I mean, we have our dream van, but if we do end up having kids, we probably will get a bigger van. So it gives you motivation, shall I say, to do a bigger and better van build next. All the things that I would say I regret that we didn't do in the last 2 years to do with van life. And if you like this sort of content, then definitely follow along because we post all this stuff all the time.
Van life sucks. It just stopped raining for the first time in the last 48 hours. And in that 48 hours, we have killed 3 more mice, suffered through having a broken heater, and discovered 2 leaks in our roof. There's mud everywhere, clothes hanging from the walls, and at the end of it, I still have to work an 8-hour day.
Y'all still thinking about van life now? I don't think you think about it no more, my brother. Yeah, van life is sort of like off the grid where everything is on you and you gonna do what you gotta do because it's on you. Now, off the grid can be cool, but it's not everything. It can also be a nightmare. If you want to see how off the grid can become a nightmare, watch this video right here. I'm gonna see you there.